Hey yo, this is Callion and welcome to the Heyoka Experience. I am joined today by Taoist priest Lao Shi. Join us as we take a journey into the Eternal Tao. Well, and that's where it's going. So I was talking to Lee about this the other day, and we were talking about kind of the Catholic Church and kind of what's happening there, you know, with like all the molesting, all this crazy stuff that's going on. So what's gonna happen though is that we're getting a whole generation that's raised on this like crap that's going on, and they're all gonna be pushed into the occult, you know, different mystical traditions like as they're growing up.
Yes and no, and here's why, right? So when you study the human psychology, and I mean studying it in terms of really understanding biology as well as psychology, as well as sociology and anthropology and different things, we're living at a different time than most people understand because we don't have it's not all things being equal. The occult was big when it was, because if you hide something and say you can't have it, everybody wants it.
Yeah.
It's not hidden anymore. Nobody cares. Ray Bradbury says you don't have to burn books anymore. Nobody wants to read. What happens, though, is that children are having two problems, and we're seeing this. So the millennials, kind of all millennials, 95-ish to about 2005. But 2007, we have Generation Z. Generation Z does not have a critical portion of our life. What year were you born?
91.
Okay, so you're just before the millennials.
Yep.
So I think you would be considered Generation Y.
Yep. That adequate, rightly attributed. Yeah.
So you remember just enough to go, But and of course I'm Generation X. No. Yeah, Generation X. Gen X. And so I remember there were 3 channels on the TV. There was no such thing as a remote control when you grew up. You want to change the channel, you get up and turn the fucking knob. If you're trying to get, nobody had cable, so you had to, move either rabbit ears or a coat hanger around. There was something called UHF, which is they try to make this alt television thing. Well, we don't have VHF, we're gonna have UHF. And it was like it's the stupidest thing in the world. There was long distance phone calls were very expensive. So it'd be like, all right, you can talk for like 30 seconds. That's it, because it could be like $7 for a minute.
Oh, that was when those commercials started coming out. That Bobby had a baby. It's a boy.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly right.
I remember those.
So there were 3 channels: ABC, NBC, CBS. That's it, or PBS really, but still nothing really good came on PBS except for Mr. Rogers. But here's the difference. You could go outside and play. Like you could find me as a little kid. So I grew with my family till I was 6, and when my parents died, I was alone from 6 to 8 years old. I was basically just a feral human being. And then from 8 years old on, I lived in a monastery. But I can remember, even at 6 years old, 7 years old, I could be 5 to 10 miles away from my house. Nobody cared. I could ride my bike literally from one side of the town over to the other side of town. So I could go from Pearland to Alvin, nobody would think anything of it. I could go from Pearland to Lake City, nobody would think anything of it.
Wow.
That was just normal. And so you learn things like compassion. Compassion isn't learned because your parents teach you or you get Bible lessons. Compassion is no adults around. You got to figure that shit out with you and the other kids. So bullying was never as bad, because bullying had repercussions. Now bullying doesn't have so much repercussions because parents always step in. So we never learn how to work shit out for ourselves. That was bad enough for the millennials. But incidents of depression and all ticked up for millennials. Pretty, and anxiety. But this new generation Z, I guess is what they're calling it, Generation Z. These are real problematic children. These are really problematic children. Because they don't get to play outside. Literally, if you let your kid go outside and play like that, you could be taken to jail as a parent. You're wrong. That's not okay. And so when there's legislation saying don't let kids learn the way they've learned for the last 6 million years, this is really problematic because they got to stay inside a cage. What happens if a tiger stays inside a cage in the zoo?
It gets crazy. It loses his
Right.
mind.
Well, that's what happens with these kids. But now they have something else called social media.
Yep.
And it's like, so usually it's not unusual. So boys usually have aggressive, sort of passive aggressive, psychological issues, where girls have more emotional disorders. And we're thinking of things like borderline personality disorders is more female, whereas passive antisocial behavior is male. It's the same thing, except for males just become more physically aggressive, where girls become more emotionally disturbed and aggressive. And so when boys get on Facebook or whatever, they see, they go, fuck it. Because there's not as much weight of bully, right? Because boys like to smash to his face and put their head in the toilet. But you can't do that ostensibly over social media.
Yep.
Girls are verbally and emotionally, which social media supercharges that ability for girls to bully. So boys had an uptick in depression from like 5% with like actual, what they call depressive episodes, where something happens where you may have to be hospitalized or you can't get out of bed. Like there's like 9 criteria for a depressive episode, a severe depressive episode, and like if you get 5 out of those 9, you've had that episode. Boys went from like 5% being able to say yes to 7, which doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're talking about almost 50% increase, that's kind of a big deal percentage-wise.
Yeah.
Girls went from 12% to 20%. That's fucking crazy. 1 in 5 girls has a major, severe depressive episode.
Okay, so that makes sense. I was listening to Elon Musk and Joe Rogan the other day when they were on the podcast, and they were talking about how the internet itself is run by the limbic system.
Yep,
so like everything we do, like what we purchase, the social media, everything is run by the emotional brain. So if you're not conscious of this, you're going to be going through it like...
But the thing is that they can't be conscious of it because the prefrontal cortex isn't formed at that age, right? So girls generally around this age, 16, 17, maybe 18, they'll cut on themselves. That's not an abnormal thing. It's not normal for the entirety of females, but it happens enough for you to say, okay, hold on a second. Girls do this. This is a thing.
Yeah.
But you usually start around the age 16, 17. You got 10-year-olds doing it now. That's never happened before. Why? Because used to be you look at Vogue or Vanity Fair and go, oh, she's so pretty. I'm not. Oh, my God. But that would be like 16, 17-year-old girls who would pick up the Vogue or Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
But now 10-year-old girls have social media accounts, which should never happen. That's terrible for their brain. They have no prefrontal cortex restraint. They have no cognitive ability. They are pure emotion. Prepubescent, terrible idea. And so the incidence of brain damage and emotional damage that lasts the rest of their life, because it's not just Christy Brinkley, it's not just Giselle Bundchen, it's my friend Janie down the street, because now Janie can put filters on her camera for social media, and she can make herself look, eyes are bigger and brighter and skin. I don't look like that. I'm a piece of shit. So now it's not just, oh, these supermodels, oh, we can say they're Photoshop so we all understand, and it sort of takes the pressure, not a lot, but some. But now, if all your friends are fucking gorgeous on Facebook and you don't look like that,
yep,
and they can't distinguish, because you can tell them and they can intellectually part of the brain go, oh, but that's not the part of the brain they think with, because they're fucking retards. They're teenagers.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just feeling as they're going through it.
Right.
Rather
now,
thinking.
In this respect, this type of information is why we won't have a flood of the occult. It won't happen. Why? Because you have things like yoga, where people tell you, you can go and you can sit in this mat for an hour and put on Lululemon and still stay in your fucking bubble, but have somebody saying namaste and all this shit. So all of that stuff is becoming the new spirituality without religion.
Okay.
The problem with this shit with this Catholic Church is, yes, it's true that people are growing up on that. So people are getting away from religion. But the problem is not religion, because religion itself is not a problem.
Yeah.
Religion itself is actually a good thing, although being a Taoist priest, people would say, how the fuck can you say that? Because religion does not have anything to do with God. It has to do with social restraint of the chaos. Religion literally means to restrain.
Yes.
Because it means to restrain the fucking chaos of the monkey brain. Why religion even came is because we're superstitious fucking simians who don't know our ass from a hole in the ground. And if you have a confirmation and emotional bias platform, You'll do anything, even no matter how crazy that shit is. You'll do anything to reinforce it, even if in the face of overwhelming evidence that you're wrong, you'll double down. That's just the nature of our stupid ass species at this point. Religion gave some structure to it to go, but just because you are that way doesn't mean you need to lash out. Hence, the ideas of Jesus are actually amazing ideas in that way.
Yeah.
Love one another. Those are great themes, right? The York Rite, the Scottish Rite, the Masonry itself is based on those things, and that's why we use the trowel to cement brotherly love. It's an amazing concept based on the dogma of Jesus of Nazareth. But getting to the occult, it isn't that way. The occult says, hey, there are nighttime spirits too. If they're not okay with trigger warnings and, oh my God, I think he said the N-word because I heard the word trigger, but trigger sounds like, and so by association, he's guilty. Like, this is what people do.
Yep.
And so, how is somebody going to sit there and interact with Asmodee?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be difficult. But what's...
It'll drive them crazy. Literally, they're in this bubble, right? They've got these helicopter parents or these lawnmower parents, and it's keeping them from having the ability to deal with concepts that you don't like. Like, a guy was recently fired because I think he was from, I'm trying to think of what company he was with. I can't remember the company, but he was fired from it because he used the N-word, but he wasn't using it towards somebody. He said using the word retard or retarded is the same to mentally handicapped people as the N-word. He didn't say the N-word, he said the actual word. The word is to black people. So he wasn't calling anybody. He was saying the word retard is the same, and we will not use that word because it is just as offensive to these people as it is to these people. And literally, he was fired for that.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
wow.
So if you like Rogan, there's a recent podcast with a guy named Jonathan Haidt. He has a really good example. Haidt wrote a book called The Happiness Hypothesis and the Coddling of the Modern American Mind. And one of the things he talks about is that if you go to pygmies have, I think it's in Papua New Guinea, they have a prestige culture. So we have cultures plus prestige cultures. We all, as a species, we want prestige, right?
Yep.
So why does somebody called the most worshipful or illustrious or right worshipful? I mean, come on, man. We love prestige. I mean, let's just be honest.
Status.
Are you part of York Rite?
Nope.
Okay. If you do go there, listen to their titles and you're like, holy fuck, someone's pretty proud of themselves. And it's fine. I get it. It's fine. I don't mind it. Especially where it came from. I get it. I understand it. But that just shows that nobody's immune to the prestige, right? But in these cultures, they're literally headhunters. So they'll go cut the heads off of other people, when it's somebody not part of the tribe, and bring their head back and it's a see prestige. I have a head. I got this guy's head. I got this guy's. And they'll keep their heads because it's like a sign of their prestige. And if you think about it, video games do that, right? There's crafting and gilding, and you get these buttons and badges and trophies and awards and all this kind of stuff. So nobody's immune to it. Well, right now, when you look at cultures, when you look at our culture, there's a prestige to be gained from finding a racist, from finding a bigot, from finding a homophobe. There's prestige. Like, I outed him. I got him fired. Oh, it was the guy from Papa John's. That's who it was, John Shackman. That's the guy who they fired because he used the word, the N-word.
Yeah, okay. I remember that. That was a big scandal.
He wasn't using it in any way that would be considered a pejorative, but because there were African American interns or whatever present, they were like, ha! And so you see this prestige. I got the CEO fired. I got the founder fired. Ha ha! And because I'm this virtuous person, right? Virtue signaling. I'm this virtuous person. I'm going to get so many points for this. And so there's prestige in that. And so people have this sort of unassumed but point system in their head, right? Like if I expose a racist, 100 points.
Yep.
If I expose a guy who liked this alt-right post, he's an alt-right then. It's like, why? Because he liked an alt-right post. but the all right has nothing to do with it. The guy just, he liked something because he thought it was true. Maybe he doesn't agree with the philosophy of all right, but can somebody in the all right say something true? No. If you say something, if he's all right, nothing is true. You see, this is this association, right?
Yep.
And so there's no nuance. There's no ability to deal with things and go, okay, hold on. This is right. If there's no ability to deal with the nuance and somebody goes to the occult, you're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Well,
because I've seen invocations or evocations, you could say, of Goetia or different, where you talk to that being and you realize that being, it only looks that way because you're projecting that onto him. Like he was just like, big horns and like pig face or whatever, and he's got a severed head, and he's like, and you're like, dude, like what the fuck? Then you go like, what? Like, why are you so malevolent? What's happening? And the next thing you turn around, he's an old man with a bowl of water, dressed in gray robes, and you're like, you're like, whoa, thanks for changing, because I didn't change. You're projecting your shit on me. That's your shit.
Oh, I see.
And you're like, but you took your true form. He's like, no, I didn't. This isn't my true form either. It's the form you put on me to make me more palatable for you. You're just making me palatable for you, bro. This is not what I look like. That's not what I look like. This is all your shit. And you're just like, oh, mind fuck. So then you think about, so then you have to take that in your normal life and go, how many people do I vilify?
Yep.
How many people do I look and go, oh, he's Hitler. He's a bad person. You go, yeah, he did some fucked up things, but did you do nothing good or redeeming? No, nothing. If you say he did anything good, you're a Hitler too. And you're like, that person cannot do theurgy, ever. Ever. Because these are the people who say, well, God is wrathful in the Bible, so I don't believe in the Bible. No, God's not wrathful in the Bible. What you're hearing in there is one aspect of God called Yah. Not Yahweh. Yah. Yah was the one who's like, burn villages and sacrifice babies to me. Baladad, who was the Stormbringer, he'd be like Thor to the Vikings. He's a Phoenician god. So when you see, Hiram king of Tyre,
yeah,
he was a Phoenician, and therefore he had the Phoenician pantheon of gods. Solomon of Israel, he not only had the Israeli and Hebrew gods, he also worshipped Baladad and Astarte and all of these Phoenician gods too, because Judea and Israel is just a little small place within Canaan.
Yeah.
The Canaanites were Phoenicians. So there were temples to Baal Astarte, there were temples to Baladad. It's in the Bible. On Hiram. I mean, not Hiram, on Solomon's side. So when you look at the Book of Solomon, right, Solomon's magic, you look at all these things. These are all of those 72 demons of the Goetia. They're not demons. The church called them demons about, I think somewhere near the 7th or 8th century. But they weren't. They're just the pagan gods from Egypt, from Phoenicia, from Babylon. Like, Astaroth is really it's Astarte. They just made him a dude, a chick into a dude, because it can't be chicks in heaven. There only got to be dudes. Look at that sausage factory. But her consort Baladad, which is a year god. He's the one who has the golden mead, and he implants the seed. He's the spring. He's the green man for the pagans. Same thing. And so what you're looking at here is you got to be able to take and extrapolate that and go, oh shit, this is all me. And you're like, yeah, you can't get this cancel culture, this call out culture. They're not going to be a cult. That'll never happen.
Yeah.
What will happen is they'll go more secularist. They'll go more, my emotions are God. And then what will happen after that?
Ooh.
Then you'll start to get the flood of the occult. Because people will be like, we're all under the so y'all who eventually, so if you look at the name of God, the ineffable name of God, Yod-Heh-Vav. Yod-Heh is the masculine. That's supposed to be El, the compassionate.
Yep.
So El, the compassionate, is like, he's not the demiurge. He's literally Kether. He's beyond that. And then his wife, which is the VH, right? Yod-He, and then Vav-He. Vav-He, that's the second. That's Astaroth of the sea. That's his consort. She gave birth to all of the gods. So it'd be like Zeus and Hera, sort of. More like, more like Rhea and Saturn, or what was his other name? Kronos.
Kronos, yep.
It'd be like Kronos and Rhea, right? And so they gave birth to Zeus, so Zeus would be like Baal Hadad, because, Stormbringer, the lightning bolts, all that kind of stuff. So Baal Hadad, so eventually what happened is Yah, which is the judgy guy, he's the sea god, right? Sort of. No, he's more like salt water. The fucked up part about Yah is he's a judgy, he's the one that's like, do what I say or I'll kill you, because I'm the judge and I'm wrathful and I'm petty. And if you look at, so a few years ago, I'd say maybe 40 years ago, 50 years ago, they opened these things called the Rosh Hashanah tablets in the Ugaritic people have the Nag Hammadi library, and they have the Rosh Hashanah tablets, which are very well preserved religious texts from that time. And you start to read that, and you start to go. So, and it talks about that. At some point, Yah goes to his dad, El, and he's like, I want dominion over the physical plane. And El's like, I don't give a fuck. Dude. So El's very deist, right? Like, I made it all, I put it all in motion, don't care. He's the one step removed from the Ein Sof. He just doesn't care. Don't care.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and so Yah's like, now I'm the master of all things. So Baal Hadad is the one who dies at summer solstice. He's in the ground until the equinox. Then the Astarte raises him back up at the winter solstice, and he's the guy. So Baal's on the underworld. Baal's dead. And this is a very good idea. This is a very idea. So if you go into the Scottish Rite eventually, there's the 24th. Yeah, the 24th degree, where they talk about all the different year gods that die. So, like Apollo dies. That's what the whole Day of the Dead is. That's what the solstice is. The birth of the Son of God. S-O-N. S-U-N. Yeah, double entendre. And so he balls down there, balls under the ocean, under the ground in the lower world when Yah does this. So when Baal comes back, it says that men and gods suffered under the yoke of Yah. And so eventually Baal Hadad's like, fuck that, goes to his mom, Asher of the Sea, and he's like, dude, this is not going to happen. No. He's got to go. And then it was just like, well, what are we going to do? Now, at the time, the Canaanites were worshiping mostly El, but there was this little group that came eventually called the Levites, who were a cult of Yah. They were, Yah is the God. And so...
And they got swords, shields, like they're ready to take over the town.
Yeah. And if you did anything against Yah demanded blood sacrifice. Yah demanded, that's what the whole thing was. So eventually Baal Hadad challenged Yah, and Yah's like, all right, you let me fuck Asher of the Sea, and I'll he's like, you want to fuck your mom? What's wrong with you, man? This is in their text, but whatever. So anyway, the point is Baal Hadad became the demiurge, the chief god of the Phoenicians, meaning the one that you could petition. El just didn't give a shit. You could petition El, and El would be like, oh my God, Almighty El, please pray for me and keep me safe. And El would be like, I'm gonna bless you, don't worry. Things would get better. And then they're like, oh my God, thank you for blessing me. I was like, no, actually, that was gonna happen anyway. It just makes you feel better. I was like, it's always going to be fine. Stop. You're a dumbass. But that's really sophisticated for those people. So, yeah. But Baal Hadad was the thunder god. He brought rain to the agrarians in the desert, and so Baal Hadad eventually became the chief of them. But the Israelites, especially under the Levites, the Hebrews, they stay with Yah, and so that's why you see Israel has one God, no other gods before him. That's Yah.
And they're one of the most powerful militaries in the world. So, I mean,
of course, because they want blood sacrifice. And God, if killing people is what your God wants, and He's going to give you power and protection, keep you safe, how well are you going to fight?
Oh yeah, the best.
So, and that's what happened. That's ultimately how that worked out. And so, what happened with a lot of these people is You get, this concept. And so you say, well, those guys are pretty fucking lame. I mean, why would they do that? No, they're just humans like us, and we're doing the same thing. The Phoenicians eventually stopped praising Baal, stopped praising Astarte, stopped doing these things, and that infected, so to speak, the Levites and the Hebrews until eventually Babylon, who were extremely mystics and all, they came and just sacked the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
And then eventually the Assyrians and all that kind of stuff. We're going that way.
So we're in that same. So we're kind of in that same process right now.
Same thing. We will not change as a species. That is dumb. We have to do this because if you want people like, the Babylonian mystery schools and the Egyptian mystery schools, if you want Pythagoras's, if you want Empedocles, if you want Cornelius Agrippa and Trithenius, his master, if you want Giordano Bruno's and all, you're not going to get that deeper information unless there's a resistance, contra-resistance equal enough to make us go in that way. It won't work.
Yeah.
So it's got to suck. It's in the shit. It's in the manure that the healthiest and most nutrient-dense plants grow.
Yeah, it's true. It's
so
true.
The masses will always be 10% innovators, 90% retards. There's no way around it. Some people say, don't use the word retard. No, the word retard means you're held back. You're regressive. You're not able to advance. It's a French word, retard, which means to go backwards, regress. That's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say retard. They're literally holding themselves back. They don't want nuance. They don't want to sit there and go, okay, just because I like that idea doesn't make it true. They don't know. If I like it, it's true. Or just because it makes me uncomfortable, I don't like it, does that make it untrue? They don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
They want black and white. They want no nuance. If you want to know, for example, take the Star Wars trilogy. The first Star Wars trilogy was so powerful and impactful because it had far more esoteric things than was ever written on TV at that time. But it was couched in a very comfortable black and white. And that's what they liked. Literally, the Empire was black and white and gray, and the rebellion, everything was all these different colors. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Literally, everything is so easily packaged. You know who the bad guys are, even if they don't talk. You know who the good guys are, and even if the good guys are, morally questionable, you're like, doesn't matter. They're the good guys, and the bad people the bad people have no redeeming qualities ever.
Yeah.
So why did the prequels suck? They didn't suck. Nobody was given that package again.
Yep.
You had the most terrible villain, invader. You had the most terrible villain starting out as a whiny bitch. The problem is, that's really where they all come from. They're all whiny bitches. Hitler was a whiny bitch.
Yep.
He was an artist who nobody liked and nobody wanted. He was short and he was Austrian. And I don't get what I want. Whiny bitches turn into this. That's why the leftist ideology, radical leftist ideology, is so dangerous. Because they're just a bunch of whiny bitches.
Yep.
And that whiny bitch will create more and more turbid emotions, which will create, eventually, antiseptic Vader, who will always be that way. It will always be that way.
So what happens whenever we not only forget our culture in a sense and we kind of leave everything behind, because that's part of the new secular religion. It's like, let's put people into a box and let's leave behind any culture that created that box in the first place. So for example, like yoga, let's put them in a yoga room, but let's not give them much history about what yoga is really about. Let's just make them do some stretching poses and we'll just go through that and make sure they feel good. But then there's also this compartmentalization that happens as well. As people are broken down, they're classified now. It's this kind of collectivism. Now, what, in your opinion, what is the problem with this collectivism that happens now?
Okay, so humans, historically, we don't do very well with collectivism, and here's why. Primates are polymaths. We look at this. Oh, this is cool. How does this work? Oh, look, how does this work? And we start to learn many, many, many things, right? So if you take a look at, for example, Leonardo da Vinci. Da Vinci was obsessed with wanting to learn to fly. He loved flight, everything that concept of flying. Yeah. So he's a pretty good sketcher. He's a teenager. So I'm gonna sketch birds and all that kind of stuff. He's just this kid who wants to sketch flying. So he goes to the apothecary because you get paint and you just can't go to there's no Walmart or whatever to buy paint. So he goes to the apothecary. Hey, can I get some pigments? To grind up to make some paint. So the guy's like, yeah. So the guy's pestle and mortar, and he sees the apothecary over there with his pestle and mortar, and he's grinding up herbs, and he's like, well, what's all that? He's like, well, this is how it's the same concept. You have to mix these things, and it was basically this pre-concept of like chemistry, right? About mixing, And so then Da Vinci's like, oh, well, how do you do this? And so of course he starts learning all about herbs, and he starts learning about all those things, and then how to apply it to the body, so organic chemistry, and he starts to learn how the human body works, so physiology and histology and anatomy, and then he starts to go and he starts to look at people's bodies and how they're moving, and he starts drawing their bodies and all, and seeing how this affects that, and then eventually he starts taking birds, and he starts actually pulling the skeletons out of dead birds, and he hangs them all over and he starts looking at flight and structures and all this kind of stuff, and then eventually he comes up with the idea of thrust, lift, and drag. He started out wanting to paint, just paint. And he ended up understanding aerodynamics. Because we're polymaths. That's a directed polymath. He had one ending goal, and it just led to all these things, led to things, which led to things, led to things. So it's a directed polymath versus somebody like Benjamin Franklin. So Franklin is what's called an opportunistic polymath, which is, oh, what's in front of me? Oh, this is a cool thing. Oh, I learned about actuary tables and all these things, and oh my God, the sun rises at this time, and he makes the first almanac. And then eventually he learns about static electricity and all these things, which makes eventually the kite and so everything that was in front of him, he just and start piecing it all together and finding fundamental grounds, what Taoism calls fundamental ground.
Yep.
And so you start to learn all these things. That's how our species evolved, because as I was saying yesterday, we were tree dwellers who had to end up on the ground. So the greatest invention for our possible experience, the greatest expression was ranged warfare, throwing rocks. Chimps can't throw rocks. So if your little one, you ever see them just throwing shit all the time? Because it's a species, we had to learn to throw, and chimps can't throw very well. The way their pecs and the way their body, they're extremely strong, but they don't have the sort of whipping as football players or baseball players when they throw a ball.
Yeah.
As a snap. They don't have that. They don't have that type of ability. Chimpanzees don't. But you need it, because if you have a lion, you don't want to face a lion if you're a chimp. You're going to end up as lion shit.
Yeah.
So, but if you get about 50 chimps together and they can all throw rocks, well, now you have a real chance. And so that's how we sort of survived and started to begin to adapt and all of these things. Okay?
Well, and then we're getting into the concept of morphic resonance, like what Rupert Sheldrake talks about. How if one species, let's say in New York, if a species of rats start evolving, the rats in Texas are going to pick up those same evolutionary genetic codes. So a lot of times it's not about just learning new things. A lot of times it's just tapping into what we've already put into this collective pool of what we already have.
Yeah, we have a neural network within our brains. So if some dude out on the Serengeti is working on a goddamn knot and it takes him 2 months to figure it out, he shows the retard next to him in an hour he's got it. That takes 2 months. We need that to survive, right? So that's how we become very polymath, right? So people who go to, right? So I've studied chemistry, I've studied physics, I've studied psychology, I've studied biology, I've studied, cooking, I've studied poetry, I've studied, horticulture, I've studied Chinese medicine, I've studied philosophies of Sufis, Sikhs, Jains, Gnostics, Swamis, Vodouns, Kabbalists, 4 indigenous tribes. I've studied soil and horticulture. But I haven't really learned anything new. I've just learned how to apply the same thing to many, many different things.
Yeah.
We call that the way, right? That's what it means to be a polymath. Now, by contrast, insects are not polymaths. Insects are specialists. You have your drones that do this. You have your warriors that do that. You have your queen that does that. You have all of these very specialized things. That's an insect's mind. Now, if you look at the modern culture that we have today, what have we done? We've become insectoids.
Oh, okay.
We become specialists. So doctors don't know how the body works. They know how whatever they know about the body works. So if you say to a doctor, for example, I'm having, this problem with my lung, whatever, do you think it could be the liver? No, the liver, why would the liver have it? No, the lungs, the lung, the liver. It's like, there's no connection between the lung and the liver. No, they work separately and independently, and you're like, because of no concept, they don't see the whole. There's no, that's what holistic medicine is supposed to be, seeing it as a whole working unit and how, but doctors, there's no evidence for that, so it must not exist. It's like, if you only deal with the things that you have evidence for, you are a fucking retard.
Well, I think what's happening now is, like, as we're evolving, we're kind of becoming more autodidacts as well. And I think that's our natural state, which is, like, we're self-learners. So, like, just like you said, like, you're going from one subject to the next subject to the next subject. And I think that's really vital for the time we're in right now, that you take on that mindset, because as long as you're not autonomous, right, like with what you do and how you do it, and you always have to be directed, like, you're never going to find your path.
Sure.
And you can have help. That's not saying you can't have help, but at the same time, you still have to be autonomous in how you're operating.
The problem with it is so when you have people who don't learn that way, and the problem and the reason why they don't learn that way is the world requires you to have a certain amount of, I don't want to say viciousness, but there has to be a certain amount of aggression. Now, that aggression doesn't mean you have to bully someone. Aggression means you have to have the assertiveness to go get it.
Yep.
But because there are some people, and I don't know why, like, you take a bunch of children, you put them in a room, right, and you put a new toy. The toy makes all sorts of weird sounds and lights and all. Some kids are like, oh my God, what is that? And other kids are like, oh my God, get away from me.
Yeah.
Like, there are people just wired like that. Well, the ones who are like, oh my God, have somehow convinced the ones who are like, oh my God, that they're wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're bullying me, because you're making me feel bad. And so we want to be kinder. And it's a new thing for our species, right? Because we were never built to be collectivists that way.
Yeah.
But every time, like Rome and Carthage and Mesopotamia and Egypt, those are our experiments in collectivism, and you see they ethically succeed in many ways, and then they fail in massively cataclysmic ways. And we're doing the same thing because we're just doing these experimentations. And this will fall too, and something else will come, and they'll fall and will come. And the reason why is we are safer, happier, and better off now than we've ever been in any time in history. But in that statement is that because we are those things, we are less exposed to the real harshness of what reality is like, and therefore smaller things seem bigger.
So our mind is still searching for those things.
Yes, but that's what we do. You don't walk into walls because your mind is looking for what's not there. So if you see a doorway, you go to what's not there. You're always looking for what's not there to transnavigate your world. So if you have everything right, but one thing out of place, everything's wrong. So you're looking for what's not there. This is also the basis of why we look for God in the sky and invisible. We're looking for what's not there. We don't see what's there. Because spirit has to be this completely unrelated thing, and physical, now that's the beautiful thing. No, it's not true. That's completely false. That is absolutely patently false. You have to be able to understand the spirit of something is what's not there. So I have my cup, right? My cup. Normal Taoist teacup. So the mundane would be this ceramic. This is just physical. We broke it. It's temporal. It's impermanent, as the Buddhists would say. So then you see the beautiful pictures on there. I don't know if you can see it right now.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's the energy of it, right? Oh, that's so good energy, because when I look at it, I feel so peaceful and sweet and everything. It's like, it looks like Chinesey, so I'm pretty woke. I'm pretty woke, right? But what's the spirit of this? And people go, the spirit is that it's Zen. No. The spirit is that this cup is fucking useless. It's not what's there that matters. It's what's not there. Because if it was just porcelain, it'd be useless. It'd be like a soup sandwich. It'd be like a fucking elevator in an outhouse. It'd make no sense.
Yeah.
The point is, it's what's not there that makes this cup of any use. That's the spirit of the cup. It's not what's there it's the what's not there. If you go to a building and it's 300 feet by 300 feet by 300 feet, but it's solid concrete, nothing is, it's completely filled, just one big slab, that's not a building. It's a big slab of concrete. But if you have 300 foot by 300 foot by 300 foot with a bunch of rooms and walls and partitions, that empty space is what makes a building, not the walls.
Ah, okay.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit realm. You have to see what's not there.
Okay. So I got a question for you. So you told me one thing not too long ago. We were talking about the difference between the 1 and the 0.
Yes.
Would you mind going over that for me? Like the difference between the 1 and the 0?
So the 1 is a thing. So the cup. We think that the cup is when you take the slip, right, and you start to form it, and then after you do that, you put this, you bake it slightly so it's hard enough and you can etch into it and you can color it and then you put it in a kiln. And so therefore, that's the 1. And the answer is no. 1, so in Western traditions, the 1 makes everything. So God is what people generally call it, the God particle, the Keter, whatever. But if you go to Kabbalah, no, the nothing, the 0. So where did this cup start? Well, the cup started in somebody's inspiration. So if you take a look at, let's take a look at the tree of life as a diagram. The top 3 represent absolute, the archetypical world. So there's no thing there. There's nothing. There's no thing. It's the nothing, which is everything undifferentiated. Yeah? And so from there, then it goes down to the next 3, which is Hesed, Gevurah, and Tipreth, which is it's Bria. No, you're right.
Yeah. It's Bria.
Yeah, Bria.
Yep.
And then this is the inspirational world, like you ever have an idea, you're like, and you have to start writing it out and talking it out. So when it goes from this, oh my God, it's this amazing thing, where did that come from? It came from the chaos.
Yep.
It came from everything undifferentiated. So it came from nothing. And then it starts going, and then you take it down to the Yetzirah, where you start to put it in paper and you start to talk it out. And, okay, and now you're forming it into Yetzirah, the formative world, which then comes down into Asaya, which is the material world. So the nothing, the absolute, the Ein Sof, whatever, and the, or Tao, it produces everything because it's undifferentiated chaos where the seeds of everything exist.
Well, and I think that runs very that's anti kind of what the New Age movement is pitching right now, because the New Age movement is really big about oneness, collectivism, everybody pitching together, but that's not necessarily where creation starts.
No, because here's the thing. So if you look at the fundamental symbol of Taoism, which is the Tai Chi symbol, right, the Yin and the Yang. Okay? The dark is the chaos, the light is the order. The fundamental symbol of Taoism. I mean, as you said, it's chaos and order.
Yeah.
The universe itself has to be fundamentally chaos. Because order, by definition, is finite. There's a beginning, middle, and end, and then you're done. Order. But if you take away order and you have chaos, when does chaos end?
Never.
When does chaos begin? What rules does chaos have to follow? The answer is none. It's chaos. So everything comes out of the chaos and creates order. Yin creates yang.
Yeah, okay.
And then the yang gives order to the chaos for a bit, and then the yang returns back to the yin. So you have nothing, then the Big Bang, you have a universe, and then it's all going back into the supermassive black hole, which is eating itself, which will then come in another one, and you have this in every way, right? The heart has to contract, so it opens, and it has to open to contract.
Okay. So everything really starts with the yin.
Yes. Well, no, because it isn't yin yet, because there's no yang still.
Okay.
Hence it's chaos, right? Because there's a lot of Taoist schools like, well, the universe is primarily pure yang, because yang is not a substance, it's not a thing. It's like, nope, because there's no, your heart would be considered, the muscle would be considered the yin, the would be the yang. So it's like, Well, so the heart is primarily the yin. No, the tissue is yin, but it's just dead fucking material. If it's not moving, it's not in the body. It's just gonna decompose. It's not a heart.
Yeah.
It's just muscle. And like but the heart is really the beat. So what beat? So you're trying to you can't put that kind of dualism there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, collectivism has never been about unity. That's why it doesn't work when Marx or Lenin or Stalin or democratic socialism, it doesn't work. And the reason why is, to do that, you'd say, well, we're all the same. No, we're not. We haven't been since Australopithecus. We never will be. Do you know why you call it a family tree?
Why?
Because in ancient times, our families lived in fucking trees. And you were biologically wired to be like, we were born in an oak tree. We're the oak people. You're the elm tree people. We don't like you. And we were biologically rendered to have disgust. Acceptance is the ultimate Taoist principle. Its antithesis is disgust. Crowley talks about this a lot. That's why Crowley ate people's shit. And that's why he did all the nasty, dastardly things, ostensibly. Obviously, just a freak too. But he did all those things to show you, if you have disgust, you have not created equilibrium. Therefore, you have not attained the annihilation of the self. Because biologically, we are designed to have disgust. That's an important evolutionary feature within our species. Because if you're a tribe of simians, the us came from a particular topography, you had certain abilities to deal, like say cold. Let's say there was a lot of wind. Let's say there was a lot of stagnant water or whatever. Okay, so you have a lot of ability to deal with those pathogens. But if you have another simian group came over and they're from rainforest, what kind of pathogens are they going to bring?
All kinds of shit.
You're going to die horribly.
Yeah. Okay.
So we evolved with an innate sense of I don't like you.
Okay.
Collectivists say that we're not that. No, that's not true. We just do that because we're greedy. No, it's not true. It's if you just get around everybody. And so people go like, well, we have antibiotics and stuff like that, so we can be around each other. Yes, we can still infect each other with ideas that you can't grasp, that you can't handle.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you go to a culture like, let's say Nigeria, there's a lot of people that is like, if you can afford a house, you can put as many families as you want. So you can marry as many women as you want if you can have that many houses. So if you can afford 3 houses, you can marry 3 women and put 3 families in each house, and you're good. Now, you can't do that in the United States. Why? We're not homogenous enough. They're homogenous enough that they can do that. But while they're homogenous enough, just because they're homogenous doesn't make them, well, we're all human beings. But that doesn't work that way. We're not one world. We're not equipped to do that. A lot of social science experiments done with by social biologists and sociologists that are like, okay, so you ask a guy, if you had to choose, would you rather your wife fuck a dude one time, not you, he can come here, but she'll never see him again, or have an emotional, supportive and loving relationship, but they cannot touch each other physically? Which would you rather? What do you think most dudes are going to say? Yeah, the emotional shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's how dudes are. But if you ask women, it's actually, generally, you'll say it's the opposite. She'll say, I don't care if he fucks her. I can get over that. But if he has an emotional relationship, because why? She's afraid that woman's going to take her support, her lifeline, her whatever.
Yeah.
That's a biological thing. That's millions and millions of years. You tell that to a radical leftist, you're fucking done. They'll literally, you're done.
Get nailed on the cross.
You can very well lose your job. You can be self-sustained and all these things. These are not controversial. These are how our species is. So, but then you get to other cultures like India, or you get other cultures like Scandinavia, or you get other cultures like Brazil. Like Brazil, for example, a woman can date as many men as she wants, and she can fuck as many as she wants while she's dating. And and I've seen this firsthand, where a woman she's with a guy, they're on a date, and then she's like, hey, can you drop me off at this other guy's house? And I was like, and I was like, okay, so like, why'd you drop her off over there? Like, what's she doing with that dude? And he was like, oh, they're going on a date. I was like, You just dated this dude in bed with her chick and all this kind of stuff, and now she's going out with that dude? It's like, yeah. How's that work? And the answer is she can be with as many men as she wants and then try out as many things she wants. So when she finds the one she wants, she's completely his forever. And she'll never even think about another dude again. So she needs to make sure, culturally, their belief is that she needs to make sure she knows exactly what she wants because that's when she's good. There's no divorce, none of those things, generally speaking. So the guys are like, yeah, she's doing us a favor.
Wow, okay.
Now, I also know there's a tribe I spent some time with in South America, Central America, where a woman will sit there and go, okay, I want my baby to have courage, and I want to have strength, and I want to have this, and I want to have that. And then she'll go fuck 5 different dudes.
Courage, strength.
Yeah, and each one actually. Now these are primitive cultures. These aren't people who spend any amount of time. I mean, they can't even write their name, most of them. But here's the thing. Each guy literally believes he's the sire of that child as well. They don't believe that we could have just one soft father. They believe that all of them can go into this baby. And so there will be 5 different men, and each, like if the guy says, she says, I want my kid to be of courage, and Cal, you're a very courageous guy and all, so I want you to be the father. And you'll come with her and she'll have this kid. You and 4 other guys each have their own virtue, whatever. You will have to embody courage to that kid. And so that kid will have 5 men who all embody each one of these things and are instilling it in that child. Now, what is a society going to be like, do you think, or a culture going to be like, if 5 men are being active fathers to a child and embodying the greatest virtue? Because the woman said, you have that, that's who you are. And she said it must be true, so I'm very courageous. Do you think the incidence of depression, do you think the incidence of aggression, do you think those incidents are high? No.
No, because you've got the son to follow. I mean, you've got everything you need. I mean, literally, it's given to you at birth.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these are primitive dumbasses, and this is so misogynist. This culture has far closer to what we would consider ideal.
Yeah.
And, obviously genetics be damned. But the point is they've structured it that way. They're capable of that because they not only believe this balls to bones, but they live it and make it real.
Yep.
That's what reality is. Whatever you believe in, you make that real. Right? Well, these people believe all the dumbest shit, and they're going to double down on it to make it real. And this is why collectivism will always fail. It sounds great because, look, you're talking about people being nice to each other. You're talking about people getting rid of unfair advantages and people being equal. I mean, these are great sounding ideas, but nobody takes it into it that we don't live in a vacuum. How are we wired? How does the world actually work? And is collectivism necessary? The people who want control say yes.
Yep.
Because they're the ones who make the rules. Right? Marx was not a Marxist. Marx was wealthy as fuck. Yeah, everybody was exactly the same, poor, broke, and oppressed. And Marx was at the top, rich as fuck, enjoying a great life, smashing ass. But why did he do that? Because Marx was still a fucking chimpanzee who had great... I mean, a lot of what Marx and Engels wrote is not necessarily wrong in of its own merit. It's just when you apply it to our species, it's the sort of stupidest, detrimental, deplorable thing ever.
Yeah.
So you go, but what they're saying is nice. Yeah, it sounds great. Doesn't work.
Well,
because something's nice doesn't mean it works.
Well, and here's the thing that it breeds, though, is it breeds this this false identity. Because let's say if you don't agree with somebody, or let's say if you don't agree with what they're saying, you're going to be like, well, we're one, and I'm just going to be nice to you and act like I agree for now, but when I go home, I'm going to beat myself up about it and talk a bunch of shit in my own head about you because that's how it is. But we're still one.
Yes, and that's what Taoism seeks to undo at its fundamental core. Get rid of those goddamn identities. When Taoists became Taoists, it wasn't like everybody's like, hey, good luck. No, you were the worst pariah ever. The word they used to describe a Taoist who, because so everybody was Confucian, right? You were son number 2 or daughter number 1, whatever your place in the birth order was.
Yep.
That's the word of the machine of your family. So if you're like, I want to go be a Taoist, you were literally taking a cog out of the machine. You were literally betraying everything. Because Confucians value loyalty and structure and hierarchy and all that more than anything else. Very collectivist.
Yep.
That's why China can be so socialist. and nobody really is like, oh, we're oppressed. They don't feel that way. They were bred to be socialists since the Yellow Emperor because of Confucius.
Yeah.
But the Taoists were the ones who were like, well, I can't, man. I got to follow my Tao. And people are like, you selfish, fucked up people. And so when a person left, the name they were given is he or she without a name. That word, that title, if you called somebody the worst racial, homophobic, ethnic, just fucking slur, cur epithet, that would still be nicer than being called he or she without a name. And that's what a Taoist was. That's what he was called. And when they would leave the house, people would throw like cabbage and tomatoes. They would throw rotten food at this person as they were leaving. Walk of shame for real, leaving your town. Everybody hated you. And then you got to your temple and you were completely humiliated. And you were just like, I want to follow the Tao. And they were like, all right, I get it. They watch you for a little bit, find a teacher that's suitable for you. You go, and they give you sort of some like name, but the name would be like, running water under the bridge or something. And it would be, the reason why they would do it is by watching you, they'd see enough of your nature, your essence, that would be called your truth name.
Oh, okay.
And that truth name was simply, if you've lost your way, if you lost who you were, if you're like sitting going, I don't know who I am anymore, you just follow your truth name.
Okay.
You sit there and contemplate. In different times of your life, that may mean different things, but then that will help you to refine who you were because your master gave it to you, right? And so that was called your truth name. And then eventually you get your Taoist priest name. But in that time, you were destroying, and Taoism never was like, oh, it's okay, buddy, don't worry. No, they let you suffer. And why? Because it's destroying that identity. It's destroying that collectivism. It's destroying that, if I'm not son number one, I'm nobody and I'm worthless. That had to be destroyed.
Yep.
But that's just what we're going through now. We're not doing anything different. That's why as a Taoist, I'm like, it's no big deal. People are like, the world's going to hell. No, it's not. It's fine. Relax. Calm down, Crutchy.
Like it was here before, and it's going to be long hereafter.
Yeah, but we've done this more than 1,000 times through our 6 million year history. Don't worry, it's fine. But the good news is on the outside, right? If you look at life as a circle, right? Here's the best of times, here's the worst of times. As you start going here, and you get to the worst of times, guess what? You have nothing but the best of times to look forward to. Calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
But if you're here at the best of times, you only have terrible times to look forward to till you get back. So this is actually a good place to be. You got a lot to look forward to. Calm the fuck down.
Just put your hands up in the air. That's right.
That's all you got to do now. It's just relax. Calm down. And realize that that's how it's the way. It will always be this way. But all of these people and all the things that you see are wrong in the world are literally forcing you, not making a should, but making a must. I must cultivate, become a better person because I cannot be like those people. So those people are literally the only reason you're becoming an amazing person.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd be slovenly and you'd be lazy and you'd be worthless.
Oh, so it's almost like being against the world around you and seeing like you were talking about earlier, seeing the obverse actually creates that motivation of change.
How would you not be? You lift weights to get bigger muscles.
Yeah.
It's putting the weight resistance against the muscle that makes it grow.
Okay.
That's a Tao principle. Resistance makes us grow, right? The yin and yang, the Tai Chi symbol, the yin and yang of change or growth is pain and opportunity.
Oh, okay.
If you're comfortable, why would you grow? You're happy, right? You've been in bed, you're nice and warm. Oh, I don't want to get up. Oh, I'm so happy. Now you got to pee. Oh, shit. If you didn't have to pee, you'd stay in bed. But because there's pain, because there's uncomfortable, because there's something, it makes you move, and therefore you go into new opportunity. Necessity is the mother of invention. That's why. That's what it means. Where people go wrong is they focus only on the pain and not, okay, this pain is fuel, I have to go do something.
Or in the anticipation of the pain.
Yep.
And I think
absolutely.
that's the other thing too, is like it's not even just going through the pain. So many people don't make a move just because they anticipate what might happen.
And therefore there'll be no opportunity. Absolutely right. That's exactly right. And that's where we are right now. People are so fragile, or they think they're so fragile, that they will not move. They're paralyzed.
Wow, okay. I see. Well, and so I'll give you an example. I had something happen at work the other day, and it was utter chaos. I mean, like, it was flooded in with people. We were signing up a bunch of memberships. Everybody's getting pumped up. But I had one staff member. She's a Virgo. I had one staff member. She was losing her mind. And this is the busiest we've ever been. Like, we made so much money, but she was losing her mind. She was like, I don't like this. This is chaotic. There is no order. This is crazy. And I'm like, that's when it's getting started. Like, you got to let the chaos in. Like, there's no avoiding that. If you always have order, you're never going to, expand and grow.
Right.
Like, it has to be penetrated with that chaos.
But see, so as a Taoist, when you look at the yin and yang symbol and there's chaos and order, a Taoist is one who goes into the chaos willingly.
Mm-hmm.
And then goes back into the order willingly so they can unpack and process and assimilate and then they go back into the chaos. And they oscillate with that. That's what the little white dot is. That's the chaos. That's the order and the chaos. And that's the chaos and the order, right? That's the Taoist moving back and forth, understanding that the chaos, you must have entropy, right? It's the second law of thermodynamics. You must have a breakdown of a system so that something can be born. Otherwise, it's just static and we all die.
Yep.
Hence, cultures and civilizations have to fail. Have to.
And then you rise from the rubble, right? Like, then the rubble.
Always have. I
Yep.
don't know what time we haven't.
Yep.
Right? The Elizabethan England gave rise to the Age of Enlightenment, which led to decadence, which led to Victorian England, which led to the Industrial Revolution. It always happens. And will always. The trick is, this is where the whole non-attachment thing comes in.
Okay. So being the scientist in the laboratory.
Yes, that's all we are. Taoists are nothing more than scientists of life. And we don't need to know how always. We need to know that it works. Some things we'll find out how, like in alchemy and different things. We'll find the hows eventually. But whether I know how it works or not, I need to know that it works. I need to be able to do it every time because that's what life requires.
Yeah.
And so, fuck it. That's all you can do. Go into the unknown until it becomes known, and then you go back into the unknown until it becomes known. It's okay to enjoy some downtime and peace and the comfort of order, but it's also imperative that you do not become so attached to that order that you can't deal with life, because that's going to throw more chaos at you.
Yeah, and then you're not prepared for it. Then you're like, oh my God, what is going on?
But think about how most people are. They're like, I wish I would do more in my life, and I wish my life would change. It's always the same thing. I want to go and do all these things. And then all this fucking chaos and having, oh my God, I wish I just got. They're never happy with where they are. They're never happy. When they're in the chaos, they want order. When they're in the order, they want chaos. It's just, they're not, because they don't see the cycle. They think it should be only what they want, when they want, how they want, and never anything they don't want when they don't want.
Yeah.
And that's a sign of an immature mind. Whether you're 50 or 5, doesn't matter. It's an immature mind who cannot accept you're not in control. Calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Get okay with it. And this is what Taoism tries to instill from a very young age. You're not in control. What it will be has to be, because that's what it is. So we're going to do that. That's it. Yep. That's why I do it time and again, say throughout the program. To accept and allow is the highest practice. Doesn't mean you have to like it. Doesn't have to condone it. You don't have to be like, yay. You have to be like, all right, I guess this is what we're doing now. Because you know what? That's what you're doing now.
Yeah.
And if you're like, well, I'm going to change it. Well, because you can't change it. I don't know why I'm working at a financial. I don't know. How does this shit work? I listened yesterday to I was listening to go to this PowerPoint presentation. I'm like, and they were like, "Do you have any questions?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know this is UBS, which is Union Bank of Switzerland." I said, "Do they even do this in English?" Like, that was English. I'm like, "That was English?" No clue. I've done a million things in this world. I've done things that make people go, "Oh my God, I don't even think you're human." I've had people tell me that. I'm just me. But I sit there like this, and I'm like, "Oh, today I'm the statue, not the pigeon. I'm the statue." It doesn't matter. We're just gonna go, and eventually I'll do this, and then something else. I'll do that. It's just what it is, and you go, "Oh, okay." When people go, yeah, but you're so, you say Tao so, no, I've had my ass kicked so much. It's not because I've been studying a book. It's because I've had my ass kicked literally since the day I was born.
Yep.
I'm tired of getting my ass kicked. I don't have the big, the fat kid, or, stealing their lunch money. I've got life kicking me in the balls. I'm just like, all right, we're going to do that. Life's like, hey, we're going to do this. Yeah, I guess we are.
And what happened?
Right?
So what happens that moment? You're like, so your parents going to whoop your ass, right? They're like, look, I'm tired of you screwing up. I'm going to whoop your ass. Go to the bedroom. And then you act excited about it. You're like, all right, bring it. I'm down. Like, you want to whip my ass?
I wouldn't do that because my parents did actually whip my ass. I'll tell you what, I did have that sort of an example. My parents one time were like, go to your room. I will be there in a minute. You're getting a spank. And I was like, nope, you're going to have to punch me right the fuck now. Because I always knew, since I was 4 or 5 years old, I knew waiting for the ass whipping was way goddamn worse.
Yep.
Than the actual ass whip. I'm like, I'll punch you. I'll do something. I'm going to make you whip my ass right now. And of course, the parents are thinking, go to your room because I don't want to overreact. I don't want to spank you uncontrolled. They're trying. I get it as an adult, and I get it. But as a child, I'm like, come on. We're gonna Fight Club the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit me now, or you're not gonna hit me. And then of course I grew up with my master who taught me kung fu my whole life, and he whipped my ass with a stick every day. I was like, how is it hitting a kid is not bad karma if you're a Buddhist? He's like, I never touch you. It's all samsara. It's all Maya. It's illusion. I'm like, you mother. That's why I fuck with Buddhists so much. But so, all right, I gotta get going, man.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation. Please leave a like and comment below with your thoughts or anything else you would like to hear from the Heyoka experience. Heyo!